Hey, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, Vincent LaRusso and I are going to be discussing the announcement that Gene Simmons will be doing some solo shows in 2024. We give our thoughts about that, songs that we hope he performs, and much more. We'll also touch on the fact that Paul Stanley recently made some comments about the Kiss avatars and the way things went down at the Madison Square Garden show. Lots to cover in this episode. I think you guys are going to really enjoy this. So let's jump in and let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. Today, I'm excited to have back with me yet again in the new year, my buddy, my comrade, the chemist, Mr. Vincent LaRusso. How you doing, buddy?
Good on this Friday afternoon.
Yeah, we were supposed to get together today in person, which, I'm trying to think about this. When was the last time you and I were together in person? It's got to be months.
Well, when was the
Well,
last
the
time you
Kiss
were
show.
over?
The Kiss
Well, when
show, I
was the last
guess.
time you were actually over to my abode? That's even more egregious.
What was that, like 1991?
Mm, thanks.
But yeah, unfortunately, I had something get in the way earlier today, and but we're gonna do that next Friday, so I look forward to that.
Yes.
Yes, but since I knew you were home and doing nothing, once my
Wait
afternoon.
a second. Hold on. Let's not say I'm doing nothing. Never
Okay,
not doing nothing.
that's true. You probably
Mm.
wrote another 5 songs today, recorded 3 more, didn't publish any
Yeah.
of them. I like that. You're like, yeah.
Hey, listen, you were part of a conversation yesterday
I
that,
was.
that something will be happening soon. So,
Yes. Looking
and you will
forward to
witness.
it.
Yes. So anyways.
Yes. So, but I texted you last night and I said, hey, we should jump on and talk a little bit because I know Gene hasn't officially announced, but there's been a lot of talk this week. Oh, ever with the freaking publicities. I wouldn't mind if I got paid for it.
Mm.
But so Gene did not announce, but there's been a lot of stories about, I guess, his first solo show, now that Kiss has wound down, was announced by the promoter. But then also last night, and I asked you this just before we started, and you said you hadn't seen this, so I'll be interested to get your take. Last night, I think it was Ultimate Classic Rock released a new interview with Paul Stanley. So before we talk about the Gene solo stuff, you said you didn't see that interview with Stanley, right?
Correct.
All right. So in the interview, he says, and this has been the highlight that everybody's been talking about, I think the fans got the wrong impression initially about the avatars. And then he says something like, perhaps understandably. So first off, just hearing Paul acknowledge that the fans got the wrong impressions tells me he must know and hear all the backlash that's been going on, because you never hear Stanley. Stanley's always one to kind of stick up for what he's done, et cetera. So what are your thoughts with Stanley saying, hey, I think fans got the wrong impression initially of the avatars?
Well, I think we got the right impression that they didn't end the show properly. But anyways, yeah,
man.
or acknowledge, their,
And you know what? And not
their
to go off
past.
on that tangent, but it's been now, what, 6 weeks? And I find
Wow,
myself
it's been
getting,
6 weeks.
I think so. I think it's been
God.
6 weeks since that show. And I find myself getting more frustrated about the way it ended, with no acknowledgement and no like feel good moment. So when I hear Stanley and I see Stanley comment something like this, the fans got the wrong impression about the avatars, my first thought is, whether we got the right or wrong impression, it was the wrong friggin' time, Paul. It was not the night to introduce that. But he goes on to say, at the garden shows, the fans got a glimpse, but they're in their infancy. And I'm like, all right, well, if we just got a glimpse and they're in the infancy and we got the wrong impression, whose fault is that? Kisses, maybe? I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't have rushed this too fast, So,
Yeah.
and then he says, we're not being replaced with flying avatars. Um, from what I saw on that screen, there was, I think, Gene flying a little bit. I think even Tommy was flying around a little bit. They were flying avatars, Paul. Maybe
Yeah.
that's not what you want them to be, but that's what you kind of showed us. So, but what are your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts of Stanley kind of making these comments in the last 24 hours?
Well, again, it's very unusual, as you said. He doesn't rarely ever admit that he's done something wrong or whatever.
And he does not admit that he says we'd be crazy not to take advantage of this, blah blah blah. So
Mhm.
he's still fully supporting it, but he does
Yeah,
acknowledge that maybe there was a wrong impression of it.
yeah. I mean, listen, I it's like revisionist history in my mind. I know soon thereafter, the next day when we did the show, I said something to the point where the whole thing when the smoke came up and we didn't see them leave the stage that I
Yeah.
actually liked that, and because I didn't have to see them leave, and
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe not only myself but other people were kind of romancing the whole night, and you felt a little maybe emotionally weak by the fact that this was.
Mm-hmm.
But then everything settles, and then you play everything back in your mind,
And the
and
smoke
it,
clears.
and the smoke clears, and you hear this one comment on it, and someone like Bruce or whoever, and you're thinking, yeah, you know what? Yeah, wait a second, hold on a second, wait a second, So I've definitely kind of changed my whole, you know, uh, my feeling about what they did that night.
Mm.
Um, but did I just answer your question? To as
Uh,
far as you asked me directly about the
yeah.
avatars themselves.
Yeah, and just Paul's reaction that the fans got the
Well,
wrong impression of it.
I agree with you. We didn't get the wrong impression. This is how you presented it. You had time to present it. So, I mean, what did you review with your eyes closed?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like, come on. I mean, these are all smart people who are involved in all of this, and obviously it's a big undertaking to put this together. And they showed you some behind the scenes of that.
Yeah. Oh,
So
absolutely.
I don't know. I think he's to your point he heard the criticism, a lot of harsh criticism on
Yes.
this, and now he's kind of trying to, put some band-aids on it,
Hmm.
on the media and whatever. So,
Yep.
um, I don't know. I would have rather him say, in hindsight, we should have had a video on with showing Ace and Peter and Vinny and Mark St. John and Eric Carr, and maybe we could have done something a little better on that end. We've heard what the fans say. We apologize.
Right.
Don't think that we haven't maybe internally acknowledged these guys, whatever it is. I don't know
Right.
because I don't know what they've done. I much rather would have heard that than some sort of
Agreed.
thing about the avatars. But honestly, right now, I don't care about the avatars. I mean, never care about the avatars. That's, to be seen or to be heard or whatever, or to be determined of what they actually do with this.
Yeah, and I'll say this: Kiss is always to me forward looking, and they've
Yeah.
been really good this way. Because I remember, and I think I've said this on the show, when they first announced the Kiss Cruise, I was like, oof,
Mm,
really? A freaking Kiss Cruise? How cheesy could you get? And then I went on 10 of them, right? So
yeah.
I could admit that I was wrong. But so as smart as they are, I think at times from a business point of view, to show something at such a high visibility time like that, like your final show, that in Paul's words are in their infancy and is not what you intend them to be, does not seem like the best way to roll out a new product to me.
Yeah.
So forget
Yeah.
whether or not the avatars are a good idea or not. Forget whether they should have been shown that night or not. If they're in their infancy and they're not done, that you don't roll it out then to me. Because I remember that night you and I were there, and I was like, all right, they're showing a cartoon on the screen right now. I didn't
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
avatars or anything. I just thought, all right, it's a cartoon on the screen. Yeah.
Well, especially because they had God gave rock and roll. I'm like, is this
Right.
how they're wrapping things up? They're doing like, they couldn't put a movie together or a short film, so they're using technology to show these characters doing whatever. I
Yep.
have no idea what's going on,
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that, you know, in some ways I understand why they did it that night, but it didn't have to be done that night. You
Right.
didn't have to try to sell a new product that night.
No.
That night should have been about the finality of what they were doing, and that's it. With social media and the internet, I mean, how many people were at Madison Square Garden that night? Whatever it is.
18,000, 20,000. I don't know what it
Right, all right.
holds.
So, all right. So you got 18,000, 20 people's attention, and then the
Right.
media that covers it. But my feeling is, they could have done this later on in time, and now to find out when it was right or when it was put
Right.
together right with the the true concept of now he's kind of backpedaling. So
Yeah.
I think he realizes or Kiss realizes. I would love to hear Gene's view on this,
Hmm.
based on Paul's comments, because I think we get more of an honest. Not that I'm
Agreed.
saying Paul's not being honest, but we might get a little bit
Little less,
more.
little less filtered. How about that?
Yeah, a little less filtered, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
that's one of the things I've come to appreciate a lot about Gene. Whether you love him, hate him, oh, he's got a big mouth, he said this and that. But I just feel like, with at least with Gene, you're getting more honesty about what's going on rather than, it's you remember how many times, I don't even know what you call it. Paul Stanley would do an interview. It was like life is like an egg. You can only poach it so many. You'd always do, which were kind
Right.
of funny. It had a certain
Uh-huh.
charm. It was like
Right.
Stanley's thing, and I love part of that. But sometimes you're like, God, Paul, I don't want to hear. Just give it
Right.
to me straight.
Right.
Don't give me the Kiss exposed version of what you're gonna tell me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, so
Absolutely. Well, so, and that's, I think, why it's a perfect segue to talk about the Gene Show, and probably shows that will take place in the summer, because since that December 2nd show, I'm going to be honest, I have not listened to a single Kiss song since then.
well.
Um, what were we going to say?
Well, I've had to, so because I had a,
Right.
because I'm, did
Right.
rehearsal last night. As a matter of fact, on some new
Nope.
Kiss songs, but
I have
not new
not.
Kiss songs, but new Kiss songs that the band is playing.
Right, right.
Is
Okay.
that still
Well,
something?
yeah, no, no, I think everybody gets the point.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I have not, because there was a little bit of a bitterness and like, you know what, after I invested myself personally 45 years in the band, I feel cheated at that last
Well,
show.
well,
You know?
didn't looking at the golden ticket make you feel? Oh, that's right, we didn't get one of
That's right.
those.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. Exactly. So yeah, so I felt a little cheated, and yeah, my brother texted me yesterday that there was this new rumor going around that in 2025, Kiss may do an acoustic tour. And I was like, "Nah, no
Huh?
fucking interest in this."
Yeah. Well,
I was like, stop it. No, 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 no. And I don't think that that's true. But when I heard about the Gene solo tour, I'll admit, for the first time in 6, 7 weeks, I felt a little bit of an excitement. And it says
mm-hmm,
a couple of things to me. Number one, I think some of the frustration I felt, right or wrong mentally, I kind of blame Paul for it. I
mm-hmm,
kind of, one of the things that kind of came to my forefront yesterday is that I think I do blame Paul for that, right or wrong, because who knows who made these decisions? We speculate it was Paul, but we don't know that. And number two, just the memories that I have of seeing Gene on his solo tour in 2018. And you and I were at the first public one he did in Cleveland. We drove there together. Um, those shows were a lot of fun. They were unpredictable. The set list was different every night. I'm like, yeah, I'm really, really freaking looking forward to this. So, in some ways, hearing that Gene is probably doing this solo tour in 2024 has got me, for the first time since that show that night, a little bit excited about Kiss again, or in this case about Gene. But what were your thoughts when you heard that he's probably going to be doing shows?
well, let me ask you a question
Go
first, and then
ahead.
I'll answer yours. See, I'm
Go
gonna turn
ahead.
around a little bit.
No,
Were you
that's okay.
surprised? Were you surprised on how soon Gene made this announcement about doing this, or
Good question. On one hand, no, because Gene's a workaholic and he's never going to sit down and relax. On the other hand, I thought maybe they'd let the dust settle and have like a handshake agreement between them that, hey, let's not do anything for 6 months just to kind of let the Kiss legacy, kind of live legacy, die. Um, but I'm not totally surprised. I mean, first off, the show is not for another 4 months, so it's
mm-hmm,
still a while away. But
mm-hmm.
I can't say I'm totally surprised, because let's be honest, did anybody think that Gene Simmons was going to say, all right, Kiss is done. Let me take the next 6, 12 months off and just go on vacation with my family? That's not Gene's way.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that Paul, on the other hand, is probably most likely not going to be doing, solo tours doing Kiss material at this
He
point.
might do a
And I think
cookbook.
might do a cookbook. He might show you how to ride a bike. He
That's
might,
right.
I don't know. Yeah,
uh,
but so how did I feel about it? Is that
yeah.
was the question you asked
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to your point before, we saw at least two, maybe three shows together. I know we did the one. Did we go to Philly? Was
We
that
went to Philly together. Yes. I know
Yeah,
we
yeah,
went,
yeah,
we were in Cleveland. We went to Philly. I know I saw 5 or 6 shows on that
yeah,
tour,
yeah,
but
yeah.
not all of them with you.
Yeah, so yeah, it was a lot of fun. Uh Gene's banter on stage, and he would have people come up onto the stage. I remember that. It was kind of and the fact that he's going to have a great band, and this whatever the band, and you're going to provide some of the details of that stuff because I know this stuff we've heard some
Yeah, well,
changes and
yeah.
some so.
Finish your thought and then I'll talk about that.
But it's going to be a top notch band. It's going to be a fun night. Hopefully, again, Gene and the first go around of this, he was pulling out some rarities, or whatever you
Yep.
want to call them, which is a lot of fun. Um, so yeah, it's exciting, and it's not, to me, it's very predictable. I think we spoke about this before.
Hmm.
We knew Gene was going to do this. I mean, again, what is he going to go out and do as far as material wise? Is he going to all start to just do a set of Sinatra's tunes? Probably not. Although that'd be
Right.
interesting to hear the demon voice singing.
You got
You
Mark
know,
Tremonti for that.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, listen, I haven't been shy about it. I've come to love Gene Simmons a lot
Mhm.
more in the last 5 years, especially since the Vault experience,
Yep.
especially since now admittingly
I think you
playing.
still have his DNA on your face, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm like Marsha
You haven't
Brady,
washed it.
yeah, it's like Marsha Brady when who was the Desi Arnaz Jr. touched her
Uh-huh.
face or something like that. I'm never washing his face. Or Daisy Jones, I forgot which one it was, but anyway, Daisy Jones, Davy
Yeah.
Jones. I call him
David
Daisy
Jones.
Jones. Yes, yeah.
I was like,
Um,
Daisy.
yeah. Um, but and then doing all the Gene material with Kiss Unmasked. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really kind of appreciation. I mean, we were doing last night, trying to do. Again, I've spoken about this. I'm going to take a 1 minute. I always got a little derailment. Just call me the train, okay? I'm not the chemist anymore. I'm the train
The
about to
train,
derail.
the
Yeah, I'm the
derailment.
train. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And we were doing for the first time trying to do larger than life,
Mhm.
and I had to tell Greg, the drummer, I said, you got to sing this
Mm.
first rehearsal. Where his bass sits and the phrasing to sing over that, it's
Right.
incredibly difficult.
Right.
I've done a
Interesting.
lot, and I've done a lot of materials and material with them, and we did Ladies' Room, which was another fun one to
Yep.
do. But I mean, the way his bass lines move, and so again, I'm on the track of like Gene performing live and all that stuff, and what the other thing is really, it was interesting. So we usually do like the alive versions of especially since we are going to do all of Kiss Alive too. But I was listening to Ladies Room, and
Mm.
his vocal on there is so guttural. It's so Gene. It's
Yeah.
like, I mean,
It's
it's like
or it's a Cookie
incredible.
Monster.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, at points last night I was trying to do it, and even I make Greg, he loves when we go back and I'm like, man, I'm like, I could lose my voice doing this. It's so like, and the fact that he's like never did, like, I mean, that's like a gift, man. I'm telling
Yes.
you. I mean, we've heard him in however, especially this last tour, and he
Yep.
really never lost a
That
step. I
is
mean, yeah,
true.
when he would do Unholy, whatever, I mean, he never really,
Right. On
but
the day that
that,
you were born line was hard for him
yeah,
to
yeah. I
hit
mean,
that.
but
Right.
if he did that every night, forget it. He'd be
Right.
done.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but anyways, but I'm really am excited to hear that Gene's doing this. I would certainly be interested. I know eventually you're probably going to get to that question. I'll answer right up front.
No, that's okay.
You know,
But you know what? I'll say this. To me, you hit on an important thing here, right? So we'll talk
mm.
about who is and who, well, we don't know who is, but who's not going to be playing with him in this first show, right? So the first show was announced for April 26th in Brazil at the Summer Breeze Festival, just in case anybody watching this didn't know that,
Minus
right?
Seals and Croft.
No, no, there's no seals and crows. Summer breeze. I get the reference. Anyway, but to me, an important part, whoever is in his band, what I loved about the tour last time is what you were just referring to. There was deep cuts every night. The songs changed from show to show. I saw, like I said, 6 or 7 shows. Every one of them was different from the other. Of course, there were some songs that were at every single show, but
How many times
every
did he do Cold Gin?
once or twice only.
Okay.
It was not at every show. I will tell you that, which is glorious to me. I think Rock and Roll All Night, Radioactive, maybe Charisma were the only three that were at like every
Mm,
single show. Otherwise, the songs rotated in and out. Oh, and Juice, of
mm,
course. And
yeah.
that's one of the things I loved. So whoever he gets in his band, I just hope they have that type of knowledge of the Kiss catalog and the flexibility to play different songs like that every night. Because damn, that's what made that tour so damn exciting to me.
So just remind me because I don't remember, and
Yeah.
you're like memory man. Were there any Paul songs that were done that night?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I figured
They
there
did do.
was.
Yeah. They did do
Yeah,
some. Like I remember they did oddly enough, Do You Love Me a number of
right.
times and I saw them. I think they did I Was Made for Loving You once, which was odd because Gene has always said he hated that song. I know they were doing Shout Out
See,
Loud, which is both Paul and Gene, obviously.
see, I would prefer that whatever he does is just being Gene only.
I
It's like
agree.
it's like the Ace Frehley thing when Ace Frehley plays live and he's doing like
Yep.
Love Gun and Detroit Rock City. Like
Yeah.
I just really want to hear Ace songs. I
I
understand why they
agree.
do it.
Yeah, I agree. And look, every time I saw Gene, he probably did, I'll say 18 songs, and at least 15 or 16 of them he was singing on. So
Yeah.
I could almost excuse that maybe he just wanted a break once or twice for his voice during the show.
That's
You know, and
fair.
that's
And that's
and that's
fair.
fine. You know, man is over 70 years old, but if it was a 50-50 split, I would 100% agree with you. But if he wants to
Mm,
throw in one or two Stanley songs,
I agree.
I wish they were maybe deeper cuts, but that's also a way for him to get some quote unquote standards in the set
Yeah.
list and for him to still sing some of the deeper cuts that we want to hear.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah.
but that's one of the things I loved is that at those shows we were hearing songs like "Ladies in Waiting" and "Room Service," not "Room Service," "Ladies Room," and "Got Love for Sale." I think he did in Cleveland. I mean, that to me was what was freaking fun about this. So, like I said, so they originally the promoter announced that the band was going to be Zach Throne, Brian Tishy, and Brent Woods. And Zach actually posted online, "Hey everybody, thanks for congratulating me and wishing me well. I'm not playing that show with Gene in Brazil, by the way."
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
clearly, whatever the promoter was saying there wasn't right. Um, People I know who know Eric or know Bruce have flat out said, at least the people I know to know Eric will not be playing that show in Brazil with Gene. Doesn't mean they won't do it in the future, but just that show in Brazil. So it's kind of up in the air who's his band is going to be at this point.
So
Um,
there's no confirmed.
no, nobody
No.
confirmed at all. Nope. Maybe Gene is just doing an acoustic show himself.
That'd be interesting. He might not even have that ready yet.
Of
You
course.
sign up for like they're not gonna trust Gene. He's gonna have a great band, or he's not gonna
Correct.
show up, right? So he agrees to do it. Then he puts his band together, and
Exactly.
seeing who's
Exactly.
available.
He could just whip out the acoustic guitar and be, "My uncle is a raft."
Yeah,
Oh man.
I love Eskimos.
Exactly. Your mother is beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man. But so obviously though, it sounds like would you be more excited for a Gene tour this summer or if Kiss was still around doing shows?
That's a good question. I mean, I think I'm over the Kiss thing. I don't mean
Okay.
over the Kiss thing, but I think listen, I saw them a good amount of times on that tour. I got my fill. I want to see something a little bit different,
Agreed.
and I'm totally into that right now. you
Agreed.
know,
Nah.
Especially if we could hear some different songs, because we basically got the standard, you
Yeah.
know, end of the road, set list
Yep.
throughout, minus one difference or two differences of songs. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Yep.
So,
Agreed. No, I would 1,000 times over rather see Gene Solo at this point.
mm,
Um, what's funny is I just thought of this now. I'm gonna bring up a conversation you and I were having about a week ago. So
mm,
I'm so excited over the fact of Gene doing solo shows. But I told you last week, and you're like, "Oh, we have to do a podcast on this," but I'm going to just introduce it here. I have no excitement or enthusiasm whatsoever to ever see Stanley with Soul Station. Um, in fact, my exact quote to you, if you remember, was, "I would pay $500 to see Taylor Swift before I spent 20 to see Soul Station."
mm. Man, I wonder what the comments are going to be like after that
I can't
statement.
wait. It's like, yeah, as we're talking about solo shows, and I remembered making that comment to you. I'm like, oh, I got to bring that up now because I'd
Yeah.
love to see what and I said this to you. It's not even just that I don't love that material, which I don't, but to see any artist that I love, such as Paul, do a show of cover tunes just doesn't excite me.
Hmm.
I told you that day if he was doing an hour and a half of Led Zeppelin songs, I don't know. I'd be a little bit more interested, but I don't think I'd be excited about that either. And I probably
Mm.
wouldn't go to that. So there's my comment. I'd rather spend $500 to see Taylor Swift than 20 to see Soul Station.
Well, I mean, I don't agree with that, be personally, but again, I have a bit of a love, not a bit of a love, but I have a love for that style of music. And
Mhm.
to see one of my musical idols kind of play tribute to that and have a great sounding band and see him in a different light on stage, I would be thoroughly thrilled to see that.
Right. Now, I did say to you, just for clarity, if Paul was doing an hour and a half of Soul Station type music, but they were all his originals and stuff like that, all right, now I'm interested. It doesn't have to be the hard rock thing. It could be that style of music. But to go to a show where he's going to do 18 songs and maybe all 18 of them are covers or 15 of them are covers, that just
Okay.
nothing exciting
So,
about that.
okay. So you're telling me, just so I know, for
Yes.
planning purposes,
Yes.
Paul Stanley's playing the Paramount by you. You have a chance to go see him. I say, hey, man, I'd really like to go see this. Would you go with me? You're going to say no.
To hang out for the night, since that's 15 minutes from my house, I'd probably say, yeah, you want to drive out to me and you go, I'll go with you. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
If you're asking me if you weren't driving, would I go by myself? 99% certain the answer is no.
Wow. 99% certain,
Yes.
15 minutes away in your backyard.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I just to see Paul do an hour and a half of cover tunes just doesn't excite me.
Yeah, I understand that point, especially if the music doesn't excite you. So why are we going to want to go see it no matter who it is singing it?
But
I could,
even if the music did excite me, it's cover tunes. I'd rather see the real band playing those songs. I don't know.
yeah. Okay.
Just my opinion. So
Now,
that's yeah.
to be fair, that album did have what, two or four
No,
original?
it might have had six if I remember right. Definitely
Six?
more than
Okay.
two. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely
And
more
one of
than
them was
and I happen
one.
to like two of the songs that he
Yeah,
wrote on
yeah.
that himself. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm saying. If he was doing his own stuff of that style, um, yeah, I'd be excited. I would go. I'd pay much more than $20 for that, to
Mm,
be honest with you.
yeah,
But to see an hour and a half of covers, I'm just
yeah.
nah. I don't know. Doesn't get me excited.
Right, right. Oh, fair
much,
point.
much
Fair
rather go
point.
see We Are Never Ever Ever Getting Back Together.
I don't know what
That's a
that
Taylor
is.
Swift song.
I don't know.
I stop
I don't know.
pretending. You know the song.
I don't know that song.
Don't
I
believe him, people.
I don't.
He's gonna
I
hang up. He's gonna be like
let me
dancing.
let me. There's no dancing. Ted Danson's not coming over here.
No.
Let me just say this.
Yeah.
I have never. First of all, I don't own any, and you know I have a lot of
Me
vinyl.
neither.
Okay, I
I don't
don't
know
own
any.
any. I've never selected in a streaming device a Taylor Swift song and hit play. Not a once.
I don't think I have
You
either,
know,
to be honest.
I've only heard it, you know, like you
Hmm.
walk into a friggin' Michael's or some crap, you know, and you hear something playing, you know, over the, you know,
Right.
the whatever it's called, the
Yeah.
musical system that's in that
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I
establishment.
don't own any Taylor Swift albums either, and I only really originally became aware of her catalog of music when she did some show with Def Leppard like 15 years ago, and they sang each other's songs. And
Mm,
so hearing Joe Elliott singing some of Taylor Swift's songs interested me. And these were not songs that were on the radio at the time at all. So that's where I was like, these are good pop songs. And hearing Joe Elliott sing her songs, they didn't even sound like Taylor Swift songs anymore. They sounded
mm,
like pop songs sung by Joe Elliott. So
mm.
that's where I became a little bit interested. But no, I don't own any albums. But anyway, that was my way out there comment about Soul Station. But let's play a little game here with the Gene solo tour.
Mm.
Okay. And I didn't tell you we were going to do this, but I think this will be fun. I listed about 10 or 15 songs that, to my knowledge, Gene has never performed before, either with Kiss or solo. So just a yes or no. You could elaborate a little bit if you want, but a yes or
Well,
no.
thank you.
Would you want to see Gene do this song? All right. So yeah, let's have a little fun with this. See
Okay.
You in Your Dreams.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Which version do you like better, Rock and Roll Over or 78 solo?
I think I like the solo album.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like Rock
Yeah.
and Roll Over version
Yeah.
better. So that'll be
Yeah.
interesting. People watching and listening, which one of us is right on
Yeah.
that? That's Rockin' in the USA.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. I always loved that
Yeah.
song. In
Mm.
fact, yesterday when he announced it, the
How great is
first
that fourth side of Alive too, by the way?
that is a excellent. In fact,
I
I've said
mean,
this before.
how I
My
mean,
least favorite song is Larger Than Life, and I know
mm,
people love that song.
yeah,
That's my least favorite of the five. Yes, including Any Way You Want It.
yeah.
But that is a fun side. I agree.
I don't know why you don't like Larger Than Life. I
It's not
mean,
that I dislike it. I mean, I love the
well, besides that, I mean, the drums are awesome.
yeah.
Bob Kulick's guitar work on it is awesome. You know, just got a
It's a
great feel and
it's
vibe to it. You
yeah.
know,
It's not a bad song. I don't think it's a great song. It's not a bad song. Um, I just like All American Man, Rocket Ride, Rockin' in the USA. I love those three songs. I think all
mm-hmm.
three of them are excellent songs. And Any Way You Want It is a fun cover. It's so yeah.
Okay. Speaking of the song that has both same bass fills, Larger Than Life or Almost Human. Which one do you pick?
Almost Human. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll say this: if Gene's going to do a solo show, since I've seen him do Almost Human, I'd maybe pick Larger Than Life.
No, not to
Although,
pick a song. I'm saying what
okay,
song you think like better.
Almost Human.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
Probably Almost Human. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Another song I don't think Gene's ever played live. X-Ray Eyes.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I'm going to say yes, just for the sheer fact that I've never heard, he's never played it live, and
Yeah.
it'd just be really cool. Yeah,
Yeah. I agree.
song that doesn't get mentioned really ever.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. But I don't think it's a bad song. I kind of like that. I think it would.
Well, again, I think we mentioned about Dynasty is an album that gets whatever. I don't know. I really, it's from top to bottom. Whether you like that style, whether you like
Yeah.
a dirty living or whatever, or whatever. Sure, if you like that kind of pop, disco, whatever, it's a well written album from
Agreed.
top to bottom, from top to
Agreed.
bottom. So,
Agreed. Here's one we just recently spoke about in another episode, Naked City. I'm sure you'd want to
uh,
see him do that.
yeah, absolutely.
So Naked City or X-Ray Eyes, if you could choose one in the set list, which one?
Next, Naked City,
Nah, I go
Naked City.
X-Ray Eyes, I think.
Yeah.
I definitely prefer X-Ray Eyes
Well,
over
as I
that.
told you, and I couldn't elaborate. There's a backstory to that song that I will not get into.
Right.
But yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah.
Um,
So,
Only You.
ooh. Oh yeah, absolutely. Again, for the sheer fact of just like hearing that song, I think from the Elder, especially,
Yeah. Well, then stick
be
with that.
awesome.
Mr. Blackwell.
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes to anything Elder. Bring out
Wow.
fanfare. Start the set with fanfare. That's an accurate way to play it too.
You know what? I would say no to Mr. Blackwell, actually.
Really?
I'd be like, oh, I just have never been a fan of that song at all. Only You I'd get very excited about hearing, but Mr. Blackwell, I think I'd rather hear Cold Gin.
Well, again, you've never heard Mr. Blackwell.
No.
You wouldn't be excited just to hear it, just like in its, you know. I think in that moment you'd be like stunned and be like, "Wow, this is kind of."
I think in that moment I would be stunned, yes.
Yeah.
But then after that, I'd be like, man, that song sucks.
Mm-hmm. Not saying it's a great song.
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
ever liked that
Yeah.
song. Now we were talking about Gene's voice and him still being able to sing most of the stuff. I don't know if he could still sing this one or not. Saint and Sinner.
Ooh, I love that song.
Yeah. Not
Yeah,
sure that he could
that's a
pull
good
that
one.
off live though.
The drums on that song was just
Yes. Well, Eric
Eric
Carr always
Carr.
said that was his favorite song to play drums to that he ever
Just
recorded.
people, any drummer out there. I mean, if you're watching this and you're a Kiss fan, you've obviously probably heard all these songs. But again, if you're not a Kiss fan and you just come across this channel and watch us, listen to that record. Listen to what Eric played on songs like Danger, Creatures of the Night, even his drum fills on a ballad, I Still Love You. It's
Mm-hmm.
so non-traditional, of what was kind of done at the time for a power ballad. It's just
Yeah.
so awesome. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
continue.
So obviously your answer is yes. You'd love to see him do Saint and Sinner.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Do you think he could still sing it live though?
Thinking of
Right. He's a little
probably,
bit higher register.
probably. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they might, tune down a half step and
Yep.
that'll help them,
Yep.
I probably think he could,
So sticking with Creatures then, Killer.
Uh, another great song. Yeah.
Look
I'm
at
gonna
his
say the yes.
smile. Oh man.
Yeah.
And what I love. There you go. Look at you getting all food. You've never done that with Unmasked, right?
No, we haven't really. We talked about this last night about dipping into 80s,
Mm-hmm.
80s era of Kiss, and me and Greg are really pushing.
And that's still
really
makeup
pushing for it.
era.
That's true. Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah. To me, so I mean, I still have a few more I'm going to run by you, but one things that I get excited about is what I loved about that solo tour he did previously is all the deep cuts he was doing, and just look at the ones that I've listed so far that he's never done, and that's where I freaking get excited. I'm like, man, if he mixes it up again this time and he starts adding in some of these songs, man, it's going to be freaking glorious. But all right, let's stay with it. Not for the innocent.
Not one of my favorites. Not one of my favorites. That should be the title. Again, I suppose just because of the sheer, but I would put that at the bottom of the list that you gave me so far.
So you would rank that below Mr. Blackwell.
Well, all right. Let me think about that again. Well, the only reason why I'm saying about Mr. Blackwell is because it's an Elder song and it's just
Okay.
so out there, and just to hear what that would sound like live, I'd be, to use a word you like to use, intrigued.
Be intrigued.
Yeah,
Okay. So you'd
yeah.
rather hear Mr. Blackwell over Not for the Innocent.
I'm not saying it's a better song,
Right. I didn't say that.
but in
I
a
didn't say what
live
you're saying.
context, I would just love to hear how that would translate live because it's just so wow, wow, wow.
Now, what if he did the sound effect? I never said I was more than I am.
Wow, wow, wow. That might be the highlight of the show.
So if he does that, then maybe I want to see it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh man. All right. Here's one that Bruce's band did. Burn, bitch, burn.
Mm.
Bruce did not dance to
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one.
yeah. I would, yeah, definitely be into that.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. I know there's a couple of songs here now from the 80s that they did once or twice in the 80s and then dropped. So I'm curious what you think about these. Any way you slice it.
That's on that's on
the,
Asylum,
the
right?
enthusiasm went down here quite a bit.
That's
Yeah.
Asylum, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Asylum. I'm putting that at the bottom of this list so far. Not the very bottom, but lower tier.
Lower. Do you have that lower than Not for the Innocent?
No.
Okay. Hella High Water.
Ah. Yeah, I'd like to hear that live.
You'd like to? I know they did
Yeah,
that once. I think like
yeah.
1990. Actually, I think at the Stone Pony, but maybe once on the Crazy Nights tour also. But Betrayed.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. That's actually high on my list with all of these
Yeah.
songs. I know they did it once or twice in 1990. I would love to see him do that. Thou shall not.
Never was a fan of that song. Oh, look out!
But now that's the Bruce dance song. Oh no, no,
That's true.
paralyzed. Paralyzed
No, no,
was
it's Paralyzed. Yeah,
paralyzed.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
yeah,
Not
paralyzed.
one of my favorites. Not
Yeah,
one of
I
bottom of
agree.
the
I,
list.
I I wouldn't mind if he never played Thou Shall Not. I saved one of the ones I would be most interested to hear, but you had to say till the end. Hate.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah,
What if he said, "I'm going to do on this solo show every song that I recorded on Carnival Souls"?
that would be awesome. I pay double.
You pay double. All right,
I
so you
pay
pay
double.
$40 for that show.
Yes,
Oh man. Yeah, I would actually like to see him do Hate as well. It would be interesting because Unholy never really translated live. We were talking about that before,
mm,
at least with his vocal. I wonder how Hate would translate for him
that'd be
vocally.
very. That now you asked me about singing. That would be very
Yeah,
difficult for him to do.
yeah, yeah. But I'd still be interested to see him. Now, what if he did a song like that, or what if he did like Saint and Sinner, but he couldn't handle it vocally, and one of the other guys in the band sang it?
Eh, I don't want
Right.
anybody else singing his songs. No,
I agree.
I don't
I
like that.
agree.
It's like when Ace Frehley doesn't sing. What did he
Speeding back
sing?
to my baby. I think he's not
Yeah,
singing now.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. 100%.
Fucking
So
Lace Frehley.
lazy Frilly.
Yeah, Lace Frehley.
Lazy Frilly. It's interesting lately. He's been doing these videos. I don't know if you saw online where
How
he's
could you
like,
not?
where he's at the supermarket or stuff
Yeah,
like that. And I'm like,
yeah.
all right, he must be angling for some kind of reality TV show, is what I'm thinking with those
Well, I
videos.
think that's a product of his girlfriend. If you notice some of the thing, it says if you look at the Instagram, it has both their things.
Oh, really? No, you see, I don't.
Yeah, I think there's something going on there.
Interesting. Now,
Some of them are
saying
hard to
that,
watch. Anyway,
okay.
yeah,
Well, I was
yeah.
going to say, if he did do a reality TV show, would you watch?
I'm not a big reality TV guy. I've never been.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I did watch it. I don't think I watched it first run. Quite honest. Um, Even like the Osbournes and that stuff. I kind of got late to the party watching that stuff.
Okay.
Reality TV always was not reality. It was like
Right.
the cameras are there. How could it be reality? You know what I
Yep.
mean? Anyway,
Well,
but
I'll say this probably
yeah,
between. Go ahead. No, you finish. Sorry.
I would tune in just for interest, of course,
Right.
and see what's going on. But I kind of feel like he's done that. Like, what is going to be so interesting now? I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know. Whatever.
I'll say this between the Osbournes and Family Jewels combined, I don't think I've watched more than 10 episodes
Mm,
combined. Right. I
yeah.
just, to your point, I was never really into that. but Ace's thing might interest me more just because he's so friggin' out there. He's such a character
Yeah,
that
yeah.
and I know Ozzy's out there a bit as
He,
well in a different way. But the Ace thing might
I
interest
just
me. I don't know.
it might interest you, but right now I just we've kind of spoken off the phone. I just have a
Yeah.
bad taste in my mouth about Ace right now, but I just don't want to. It's still carrying on about the Bembers, and I sing better than Paul, and I've done. Enough already.
Right.
Enough already.
Yeah.
Just be happy what you're doing. You're successful if you're successful at it. Be happy. Just let it go already. So I
Hmm.
say, just let it go already.
Agreed. So you said for some of these Gene songs you'd pay double. What would be the price that you're willing to pay for a Gene ticket?
Oh, nah. What did we pay at the time for those other tickets? You remember?
They were dirt cheap. I think they were like
Yeah.
20, $30, I
I
think.
mean, you know me, I'm not a big concert spending guy to
I
begin
know.
with. All right.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, Gene, I'll see Gene for $100. You know what I
Right.
mean? If it's like that,
Yeah.
125, I do. That's
Yeah.
kind of, I think more than that. I don't know.
Agreed.
Depending on where it is, you know what I'm saying?
At this point, would you rather see Gene doing solo shows like what we're talking about, or be on like the convention circuit, meeting fans, signing autographs, and that
Hmm.
type of stuff?
What are you getting out of it besides going up to him and signing your autograph?
That's all you get out of it. But for
I'd rather see him performing live,
me too.
you
But it's
know?
easy for me to say because I've met the man 7 or 8 times. So
Yeah.
but I'm curious what other fans would think. What I like, we've seen Kiss however many times. I've never had a chance to meet Gene. I wish he was doing conventions or something like that instead.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I would like to see Gene do maybe some of his solo stuff, from his solo album and play, guitar on it and have somebody else
Right.
switch to the bass and have him do that. I
That's
mean,
interesting. That's
I'd
interesting.
like to see that. I mean,
Yeah.
supposedly he played on those records, right? He knows how to
When
play the
so
guitar.
when you say solo album, you're talking the '78 solo.
Yeah, yeah.
If there's a song that you can choose from that you've never seen him do, what would you choose?
That I'd never seen him
Yeah,
do.
well, because we've seen him do Radioactive. Um, Actually, he did See You Tonight when we saw him in Cleveland.
Probably Live It in Sin.
Okay, I knew that would be the one you would choose. You just want to see that. But if he's playing guitar and not bass, then you'll have to see somebody else do
Well,
the.
he did. Well,
He didn't do that
true. He didn't
either.
do it either. So it's like it'll be, more true to what it is. So.
Yeah, I think for me, I know it's an odd one, but Always Near You, Nowhere to Hide. I'd love to see. That would be an interesting one to see live to me.
Mm.
Even
It's interesting.
Mr. Make Believe. I
Mr. Make
haven't.
Believe.
Yeah, I happen to think
That's
that
good too.
second part of that album is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like the second side better than the first. And
Mm-hmm.
a holy grail video of mine. I've mentioned this before on the show. If anybody has this, contact me. At one show, solo show that he did in 2018. He closed the show with When You Wish Upon a Star. Full band performance.
Mm.
I haven't heard audio of this. I've never seen video. I'm just so freaking curious. That had to be a train wreck. What the hell is
Yeah.
this? I remember when I interviewed Jeremy once, he was like, "Oh yeah, I never want to see that video come out. This is not
Mm.
good." So of course that just makes me want to see it even more. So,
Of course. Of
yeah,
course. Of course.
that's right up there. Not quite as good as a early '70s Kiss show circulating that I've never seen before, but it's damn near that level for me. That's how much I want to see that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, but yeah, so April 26th is the only show that's been announced right now. People who work for Gene said that there is going to be a solo tour this summer. Who the band members are, we don't know. So I've seen some people joke online and it brings the whole conversation together. Maybe the avatars are going to be his backing band.
Yeah. That'd be some. Somehow we got the technology right in 6 months.
Yeah. Oh man, and you have Gene from
Yeah.
all different eras as his background band. Would that change your opinion on wanting to go? Wanted to go.
Mm. You mean having Gene and different eras playing all the different instruments?
So if it was real Gene Simmons and then Avatar Gene Simmons as the backing band.
Not really interested in that.
Agreed. Agreed.
Not really interested in that.
100% agree. And I don't think that's going to be at all what happens, but it was
Yeah.
a funny thing is we were talking about the avatars to start this and all of that. So it'll be interesting to see. I know in 2018 he did all of his solo shows were largely considered smaller cities.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see what he does this time around. I'm hoping I don't have to travel a few hours every time I want to see him perform, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Here's one of the things that Gene is going to do.
What's
He's
that?
going to be for $15,000. He'll come play your backyard with his band. Like he does all these
Uh-huh.
type of things. I mean, I'm
Well,
throwing a price out
yeah.
there,
I
but
was gonna say for $15,000, you might be able to find a group of people that are willing to pay that.
oh, of course,
You
yeah,
know, if I said, "Hey, I've got the room in my backyard, could I find a couple of, 50 or 100 people to chip in for that?" I probably could very
yeah.
easily.
Mm-hmm. By the way, this is not an announcement. I'm
No, no,
just
but
throwing
but
out.
the offer
Yeah,
is out there, Gene, for $15,000. If you're watching, you can even
yeah.
go jump in the pool afterwards, and
It's a
I'll
heated
barbecue
pool.
for you, and I'll barbecue for you.
Burnt corn is your
Burnt
smell.
corn, burnt corn.
How do you
Uh,
like your corn? Burnt.
wasn't my fault.
I know that's true.
It
That
was
is
not
true.
my fault. But anyway, so I'm
Yeah.
curious to see what other people are thinking about this Gene. I don't want to call it an announcement because he hasn't officially announced it, but clearly
Mm-hmm.
there's solo shows that are going to happen. What songs would you be excited to hear Gene do this year? You heard some of the ones that we just rattled off. Which one of those would be your favorites? What do you think of Paul's comments on the avatars that just was made in the last 24 hours? And let us know your thoughts. Anything else, buddy?
No, I think we covered all I wanted to cover.
All right, very good. Well, in that case,
Oh, come on. I was ready to do this. I thought we were
no,
going to
look,
talk
look,
about
look.
G.
Oh, wait,
Oh,
wait. All right, there we
which
go. I got part Ringo, part Gene.
this is called a jingo.
The Jingo. All right.
A
On that note,
jingo. A
the
jingo.
Jingo. All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. We look forward to your comments and speak to you guys soon. Later, everybody.
Later.
Alrighty, there you have it. We'd like to hear your thoughts and comments about the possibility of a Gene Simmons 2024 solo tour. What songs would you be excited to hear him perform in concert? We'd also like to hear your thoughts about Paul Stanley's comments on the avatars. Again, all opinions are welcome. There's no right and wrong answers. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You could also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you all next time.